So, I am recording this video way in advance because by the time this comes out, I would have just gotten back from spring break. So yeah, you saw the title, you know what this is about. I knew this was a risky video because I had my classes and another exam that week, but I was determined. The banner wasn't until 5 PM in my time, which meant I had an extremely late start. But I pulled through, and let's say me and my friend Cat Daddy, yes, that is her actual alias, had the bright idea to draw our polls together. So, this is sort of a collab? Alright, long intro out of the way, let's just get on with the actual video. It's time for me to do the polls.
Yes. Oh my god. Good luck, bro. You can do this. You're gonna get her.
77 polls. She better come home. She literally better
She
come home.
better.
And whoever I get, I'm just gonna have to draw, I guess. Let's just hope it's not painful, guys.
We do not care.
Chongyun. Oh. I have to draw Chongyun. So, as you guys could see, I pulled Chongyun first. Now, I'm sure you guys will notice that I'm drawing another person with him. That's because I just so happened to get Xingqiu later and thought, well, this is perfect. It was much later while I was speeding through my pulls, getting all desperate. But I'll get into that later. Anyways, I had an idea for a cute picture, so I did it. I love drawing two characters together, even if it's way more painful, but who cares? I struggled a lot with the anatomy for the poses. I could not get Xingqiu's arms right at all. Basically, what I had in mind was that he's just holding Chongyun's face and kind of trying to make him all flustered. Interpret that how you will. This was definitely a good drawing to start out with for this video. It set the standard of how the rest of the drawings should be. I will say though, trying to translate Genshin characters into my style is unbelievably hard. It's mostly their hair and clothes that got me. I'm sure you all will see it in the sketch, but I kept redoing Chongyun's hair. His hair looked simple to do, but actually it's difficult. Like something about it just wasn't looking right. Even after finishing the drawing, I still think there is something off. But in art, at some point you need to just move on. You can't agonize over something forever. So that meant I had to move on to doing the clothes, which was a whole other challenge. I started off with doing Xingqiu's clothing since he was in front of Chongyun. I absolutely underestimated how difficult Xingqiu's clothes were because what on earth? There was a lot of finer details in it. I noticed he had subtle patterns in the fabric, gold accents, just the works. So I was going to suffer. I had to literally pull up my game during the speed paint and just stare at how Xingqiu looked in the game while I was drawing this. Chongyun's clothing was a little bit easier, still difficult, but I was able to live. After finishing the sketch and kind of getting distracted at some parts, I moved on to the line art. Honestly, I have not much to say about this. Maybe that I noticed that Chongyun's eye lines, or well, eyelashes, I don't know what the right word is. They're like blue or something, so that was a detail I had to put in. It made coloring a little bit annoying later, but I'm trying my best to be somewhat accurate to the characters, even if it means suffering a lot. One of the more interesting things I got to do was figure out how I was going to translate the faces into my style. Like, how am I going to draw them? I wouldn't say my style is necessarily semi-realistic, but I have a tiny bit of definition and detail into the features. It's like a really small thing. Listen, I know Xingqiu has more downturned eyes, but I kind of wanted to give him fox-like eyes. He's kind of mischievous. I just associate that with fox-like features, so that's what we're rolling with for now. I don't have much to say about Chongyun's features. I just did something. We'll probably get to the coloring part of the speed paint soon. Normally, I try to pick out of my swatches, but none of them really fit the characters' designs. So I had to actually use the color wheel. I mean, it's fine. I don't think I'll be constantly drawing these characters. Maybe, unless I make a future video like this and somehow get these characters again. There's only a bit left for the speed paint. I sped it up really fast because there are like 4 pictures for this video and I didn't want it to be too long. Of course, shading went by really fast, but only because I decided to make this a simple illustration. Simple background, no rendering. I thought about rendering for this, but then realized if I render this, I have to render for everything, and I seriously didn't have enough time for that, so yeah. Here is the final drawing for Chongyun and Xingqiu. I think this is definitely my second favorite piece in this video. Yes, second favorite piece. I have more drawings and you'll end up seeing why my favorite piece in this is my favorite when we get to it.
That's not
Okay,
bad.
another 10 pull.
You can
And
do
by the
this,
way,
though.
I have some pity and a guarantee. So
30 characters.
okay, I got Mika. Well,
Disgusting shit.
okay, so jokes aside, yes, I got Mika. I mean, I wasn't surprised. He was one of the 4 stars featured on this banner. That didn't make me want to draw him anymore though. I'm not particularly fond of him. I didn't really use him in my game, and I also don't like his design. It's a little off to me for some reason, but to be fair, I'm sure some people find my character designs off. Anyways, I won't drag Mika too much since I'm sure there's probably someone out there who adores him. And to that someone, I'm sorry. Anyways, I did my best with this drawing and I found it really hard, particularly because of his hair. It's mostly because I didn't know how I was going to translate it into my style without it looking goofy. Even in the finished piece, it still looks so goofy. In typical Genshin fashion, Mika's design is complicated. A couple of small details here and there, and I struggled. I think it was made harder by the fact that I wasn't too fond of his design, but you know what? This is great practice. Sometimes you draw things you don't want to draw and you have to deal with it. He had a couple of smaller patterns and that was annoying. I survived them though, so that's all that matters. I got onto the coloring stage really quickly because this was a simple pose and only one person. It wasn't like the Chongyun and Xingqiu drawing, but to be fair, I put that on myself. So Mika's section has the least amount of footage. I will say at some point my screen recorder decided to just act up though, so that was annoying. Sometimes, life just doesn't go your way, and you have to deal with it. After enough suffering, I'd eventually finish the drawing for Mika. Here is the final drawing for Mika. It's probably my least favorite drawing for obvious reasons, but I can't deny it was a good challenge for me though. Okay, so I got another 4 star, but see, I got him at the same time as getting Mika. I thought Mika was my only 4 star for that 10 pull, so I just pressed the skip button and...
That.
Oh, and I got Oranon! Oh, I didn't expect that. I guess I have to draw them too. I now know it's pronounced Auroron, but I'm just bad at pronouncing names. So, moving on. He was the last 4 star I got for my pulls. I was actually extremely surprised about this. I was expecting Charlotte since, you know, she was one of the featured 4 star characters. Not that I particularly wanted her though, but a new character is always nice to have, right? Auroron was a great character to have in the game because now I had another Natlan character on this account. I have a different account where I successfully managed to get Malvika on a guarantee. I lost my 50-50 on this account though, and it was too late for me to grind up more wishes, but we're not here to talk about this. We're here for my art. Auroron was the second hardest character for me to draw here. I swear, all of those Natlan characters have so many details in their design. Very pretty to look at in-game. Horrendously difficult to draw though. The more I looked at Auroron's design, the more I was dreading drawing some of the patterns because I knew I'd struggle. So, for starters, he has some designs on his hood and shirt. Also, his scarf has a design. They aren't simple designs either. Then, he has other details on his jacket. I don't know how I describe them, but just know it's nothing simple. Then, he also has tattoos. Again, none of those tattoos are simple. All of these patterns and design choices make him look really cool, but that also means it's hell for me to draw. I also was stuck trying to figure out how to draw his hair at one point. I think a common theme in this video is how on earth do I draw Genshin hair? Because seriously, how on earth do I draw it? I mean, clearly, I did something. Is this an award-winning masterpiece? Absolutely not. But I think it's passable. Obviously, the worst phase of this was the flat colors because of having to do the patterns. Could I have embedded the patterns into the line art? Yeah, but I decided that it'd be more accurate if I just didn't do that. Sometimes, I literally make my life harder for no reason, but it's more entertaining like this, so here we are. The good thing about having a lot to his design is that it's very cool to look at when you finish suffering. I will admit that I was kind of liking how things were turning out, even if maybe I wasn't 100% accurate. Of course, after flat colors, I had to do shading. Shading was pretty much smooth sailing for the most part. It still took a bit, but everything came together once I was done. Then obviously, I had to do a simple background, do the same effects as the other 2 drawings I did earlier, then I was done with Auroron's drawing. Here is how Auroron's drawing turned out. It's my third favorite drawing. Honestly, if I didn't get Xingqiu and I just got Chongyun alone, this might be my second favorite. Listen, I have a soft spot for character interaction drawings. Now, I said he was the last 4-star, but he wasn't the last character I had to draw.
Hey, that's not bad, honestly.
I got... Finally!
That's...
Finally! This is
Oh
the
my
one!
God.
This is the
Oh my
one!
God.
This is the one, guys! Yeah, this is the one! This is the one!
Yes.
Ew, I got Mika. Yes! Yes, queen! Yes! Come home! She came home! You saw the thumbnail. You probably saw this coming. How could I pull on Farina's banner and just not get her? Also, I high-key needed her for my account because my only Hydro characters were Barbara and Xingqiu. I know, depressing. Now, because Farina is a 5-star and she is special, she deserves more than just a simple drawing. No, she gets to have a full-on illustration, and not just a simple illustration with a blurred background. She should have the most effort put into her drawing, because I literally hate myself. I had this vision, okay? It was so complicated I actually had to make a rough sketch. I never make rough sketches. I go fully into a clean sketch and do many adjustments. I just wanted to make sure I got this right. I have the holy trinity of pain for this drawing. A full body illustration with a detailed background I can't blur, and a character who has so many details in her design. Because Farina literally has so much. Pretty much anyone in Fontaine has a decent amount of details, so should I be surprised? This was such an ambitious drawing and I sacrificed my sleep schedule for this, but I have to give her what she deserves. I was waiting for this moment. She was the reason why I grinded so hard. Her! And now I managed to get her. On this account though, I need to somehow get her on my other account, but as of recording this, I had absolutely no luck. I seriously kept getting Chongyun and a 4-star weapon. This pose was extremely difficult for me to do. So I searched up ballet poses because I wanted to draw Farina dancing. The legs and feet. Oh my god. Surprisingly, the hands were not as bad, but the legs and feet, I just couldn't. Don't even get me started on the head. It was a side view, and the person had their head tilted upward and away from the camera. So you saw the underside of their jaw. Now, I haven't really drawn heads in that sort of angle because it just looked bad. But obviously, if I avoided it forever, I will never get better. So I sucked it up and forced myself to do it. There was a lot of struggling involved. If I didn't have the liquefy tool, I don't know what I'd do. I don't think it's the most amazing, but it'll work. So doing this pose definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone. It's a sign I should do that more, but I feel like I need to be really motivated and inspired to go through that. I really wanted to give Farina a good illustration, and as you can tell, I absolutely adore her. Up there in characters I love next to my main team, which you guys probably saw for a brief moment. Listen, there is no meta or synergy. I just liked the characters and got attached. Literally everyone was basically there since day one, but enough about my gaming stuff. Because I wasn't allowing myself to blur out the background for this drawing, it meant I had to actually try. I had to do proper line art, which, for this background, was absolutely agonizing. It was boring, tedious, and it sucked the soul out of me. But to be fair, it is my fault for choosing an aquarium with a coral reef. I did not want to hold back with this drawing, and as a result, this took a long time. I had worked on this late into the night. Then, I woke up early, had to work on this some more before running off to study for an exam, but I had just barely finished the background. And for reference, I had maybe 3-ish hours before I had to leave to go study, so the background art took that long. It probably took another 2 hours to do line art, color, and shade Farina. Don't even get me started on the sketch. This type of drawing would be one of those drawings where I spend an entire day making it with like maybe 2 breaks to eat. But hey, I think doing this was worth it. Even though doing flat colors for Farina was absolute pain because, well, details. I think some moments were a bit fun. Like all of the little bows she has are nice. Also, I think I've established the more painful the flat colors are, the more satisfying it'll look when it's done. With Farina, I feel like you could definitely see it. Obviously, after my flat colors, I moved on to shading. I think nobody is surprised when I say that shading this was tedious. Mostly because of the clothes though. I had separated the flat color layers of her clothes into more layers rather than keeping it all together. It'd make the shading a bit neater for me. I think at some point though, I was half ready to give up. But you know, giving up is for losers. and I don't want to be a loser. Okay, I'm joking about that. Maybe. But seriously, I had to keep pushing forward. Since this is one of my proper illustrations, this meant I got to do my lighting and rendering effects. My favorite part in drawing for real. And so I did, and enjoyed it very much. The rendering makes things look so nice. Once the basic rendering was done, I did my usual final touches, just making a new layer from all of the layers, blurring it, set the screen, adjust opacity, duplicate, set the new layer to soft light, adjust opacity again, and then have a soft light layer with a gradient. And finally, after all of that, the drawing was done. And here is the final illustration. This is my favorite illustration I did in this video. I don't need to explain why. Doing this video was definitely difficult, but hey, I think these ones are always the most fun. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video. I'd appreciate a like and subscribe if you want to see more from me. Cat Daddy also has a video of her drawing her pose, which I'll have linked in a pinned comment. I'll also have her channel linked in my description, so please check it out too. That should be it, so I'll see everyone in the next one.